Hey brother, so today we're going to add the second AC unit to the top of my fifth wheel because I'm tired of sweating in bed. One air conditioner is not enough for our fifth wheel. It's a little too long for it, so I'm going to add this and I'm going to show you how I go about it. This is the vent for the bedroom. So I got to pull this cover off that I put on a few years back. It's a 7/16 nut, so I'm just going to zip these off, lift this out of the way, and then I can take the vent there. Make sure you get the right one because I got one for the bathroom on the other side, but you can tell because that's where all the plumbing vents are. So make sure you do the right one. Ooh, look how dusty that thing got. All right, now we gotta get this out of here. So I'm gonna have to zip these off from these brackets off the side so then I can get underneath this to scrape off that sealant. All right, so here I'm going to take a metal putty knife and I'm running it across the edge of the frame, trying not to hit the vinyl because you don't want to rip the vinyl. So I just went through just to expose the screws. All right, so I got the screws pretty much exposed. I'm just going to zip all these out and then I can scrape off some more of the putty here. So I'm just going to go through, take all these out. They're all the way around the thing. I got, I don't know, probably at least 20 of them. So I'll get these out and then we'll take off the rest. All right, I got all the screws out of here, all the way around. There's my pile there. But I'm going to peel off a little bit more of this just so the metal's all the way clear. See, that's where the metal ends, right here. And I'm just going to peel it all back so that that can lift right out of there.
So with the screw heads out of the way, it's a lot easier to run the putty knife along that edge and clean up all that sealant out of the way.
And see how I'm trying to keep it tight to the frame of the vent. That way I got an edge there and I'm not slipping off and digging into the membrane of the roof. So I'm just going to go continue peeling this off. So, all right, I'm going to use my plastic putty knife because I don't want to dig into the membrane. And I'm just going to go around here to kind of loosen this edge so I can peel that back. All right, so as I'm doing this, if you take a plastic putty knife or just kind of push back, you don't, like I said, you don't cut it. And I also got a wood shim here. You can roll this back without digging into the membrane. I like the wood shim actually because now I know it's nice and it's blunt and I'm not gonna tear into it. But if you push it back a little bit, you might see mine's already starting to peel back. And I can just go around and peel this off. Start to pull the membrane up a little bit, but it's gonna get all, we're gonna take that back down anyway. So I'm just gonna go through. You can see back here, I've already done that. It's peeled off pretty good, just kind of using that rolling motion. If you use two hands, kind of hold down and then roll with the other one. That's kind of what I've been doing. So I'm gonna peel the rest of this back. All right, so I got this all pulled back away from the frame. So I should be able to kind of pull this up. Let's see. Kind of got to peel it away from the membrane still. So I'm just gonna run my fingers across the bottom there to pull, just to separate it without ripping it. There we go. Oh, it's starting to come off. Okay. pull this side up. All right, so that's it. Got that pulled off. It's relatively clean here. I'm going to peel all this stuff back so I got a nice clean edge to work with. And I got to go down here, down inside, and pull the shroud out of here. So let's go take a look at that. All right, so here I am inside. You can see I get the vents out. There's 4 screws. There's one in each corner on this shroud here. So we're just gonna take this down. I left my impact up on the roof, so I'm gonna use my cordless drill and pull this off. Okay, that's that. So I should be able to duct this to the rest of the camper. I don't want to do that, but they've already got this panel. It looks like blocking it off. I would assume that's the duct, goes to the ductwork. I don't want that anyway. I just wanted flow for the bedroom. That's all I'm worried about. So I'm gonna get, I got some flex seal tape. I'm gonna cover this. I got some sealant I'm gonna put in the screw holes up there first, put some flex tape over it, and then we're gonna kind of wrap it down into here just to make sure this doesn't get any moisture in it. Speaking of moisture, let's look at the plywood real quick. Yeah, looks okay. I don't see any water penetration at all. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty good up there. So I think we're doing all right. So then let me go back on the roof and we will seal that up. Well, by the way, I did throw this piece of material down over top of the bed so I didn't get a bunch of dust and crap on the bed. I can just pull this thing back. I can wipe off the counter, vacuum up, call it good. But I just covered up our bedding, so I don't have to worry about that. Alright, so I did go to Tractor Supply, got some Camco self-leveling sealant. I'm going to use this for the holes, and then I'm going to put some Flex Seal tape over there just as an extra layer of protection. So I'm just going to kind of push this in. This is kind of that same rubbery material we just pulled off here. So I'm just going to go around, put some over the holes. I'll probably press it down with that piece of shim that I got just to make sure it's kind of pressed in there. And we should be decently sealed up. And plus I'm sure the air conditioner has some sort of gasket that goes across the roof so that it doesn't leak in. So I think we'll be more than adequate here. I haven't even looked at the instructions on the air conditioner yet. I'm just kind of winging it because I know all this has to come off anyway. So, all right, so I got that. The string here, it's hanging everywhere. All right, I'm just gonna take this and kind of press it in, smooth it. I'll just go around with that. Just want to cover those holes. All right, so there it is. I'll pressed it down a little bit with that shim. Gap there. Inside to inside, I got, we'll just call it 14. It's like 14 and a quarter, but cut off a 14-inch piece here. It was just a mark. I barely pressed into that. I don't want to cut my roof. So I'm just going to peel this stuff back. Now, this is pretty damn sticky. I'm going to go basically to the old line of the frame. Kind of like so. Just flatten that out. Roll this in. Stuck on the membrane that hangs down there where they cut the hole. There we go. Just gotta smooth that out a little bit. Okay. I'll just get a couple more pieces in here. So you can see I got the Flex Seal tape, and this, like I said, the side was short, so I didn't roll it down, but it's over top of those holes, and that's my main goal. Was to get seal up all those screw holes that were there, which we got, and then the extra on the other stuff I just rolled down the edge. So I guess I can get the AC unit out and see how it goes from there. Damn it! I left the sealant laying there. Didn't take the pressure off. Now I got stuff on my sockets I gotta clean up. Okay, so on the bottom here, the AC unit, just rolled it up. You can see the gasket. That is what you want over top of the hole you have. And then the rest will hang out the back. But you want to get this gasket here that goes all the way around, basically on top of where I just put all that Flex Seal tape. So I'm going to set that in, and then should be close. I should be able to move it from inside if I have to adjust it. So I'll set that in and go inside. So here is where the wiring, this is right next to the fat cut hole there. Fat hole now cover was. This is where the electrical wires should be. Here's the warning label. Do not exceed 16 amps. I think the new one's like 12 or 13 amps that's going on here. So we're within spec on that. But I think this just pulls down. So that does just pry off. And then looks like we got to unzip that, and we should be able to get to the wire. And then there's a hole here on the side. I'll probably have to feed the wire into there to get into this cavity, or vice versa. I got to see which way it goes, but we'll figure that out. All right, brother. So back inside. I want to see what's going on here. So I'm going to push down. No, that was up there real tight. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, so it looks like they just got a terminated 12 gauge wire in here. Now, 12 gauge wire is good for 20 amps, but the unit says not go more than 16 amps. And the RV unit, the AC unit I bought is, I swear it said 12 amps somewhere. So I'm well within spec. I just using my tester here. There's power on this, so I gotta cut the power. So I'm gonna go find the breaker for that. Turn that off. Little false readings in there, but I turned off both breakers. I said AC. So if I get zapped, I'll come back and figure out what's going on. There we go. So inside there, all they got it is I've already got it kind of pigtailed, it looks like. Now let's strip that back and obviously connect it, but let's see what's going on here first. So it's going to turn this way. So you're going to screw this up. You want this, there's an edge with the foam. You want that to the inside of the unit. If I'm reading it correctly, that's how I read it. So that piece goes up in there. I guess so you can see the foam here. There we go. You want to have this down. I've already got it down, but usually it's, I guess it's tucked up in here. Mine's already tucked up, pulled out. So The only other thing you do, you want to center this to here. I know you need these. There's I don't know if you can see them here. So that's one of the mounting holes here. Here's one here, here, and there's one up in that corner. So each corner has one. And that's basically how I think I'm going to align this thing. I got the foam gasket here, the foam gasket's here, the foam's here. It's right in the front. Like I could go there, back there maybe. Maybe we'll see how it goes with those bolt holes when I get those bolts in. Next step is you want to measure the thickness of your roof. So mine is 5 inches. Now in the instructions here, it's telling you to measure, and if you're smaller than that, you're going to remove some of the perforated tabs from the ducts. They're talking about these. They're talking about that perforated tab there. Well, mine is 5 inches, 3 to 5 inches. So I'm going to put this in the way it says to do it. As it shows, I don't have to do any modifications because my roof's thick enough. Okay, so it's saying I'm going to slide this up into here. And the ductwork is supposed to connect, but I am further, it is further away, so I don't know how that's going to work. I didn't make any modifications to it, and it's supposed to go together. And then nowhere near close, unless it's when the maybe when I compress down the foam with those screws to it, it'll pull it together. But right now, it's a good 1/2 to 3/4 inches apart. That does. The next step is putting that up there, putting those bolts in. So maybe it'll compress that down enough to get it close to matching. Let's carriage. There's a bolt here. I'm gonna do all these corners here. Let's see how this goes. I'm just gonna start it by hand just to hold it, and then I'll mess with trying to get this aligned. Do the opposite corners first so it holds up. It's tight. I have to get a socket on there for sure. Actually, I have to pull down the unit from inside to make this bolt connect. It wants to slip there. Okay. One of them wasn't tight. This one over here. Thought I had it in there. That's better. Sucks it down nice and tight. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. Now it says the torque it to 40 to 50 pounds. I'm gonna have to get a small torque wrench. That's still not pulling. I still got a gap here. Alright, so what I want to see here is I mean, it's not torqued down. I didn't get a torque wrench on it yet. But you can see there's still quite a gap there. If it's not, I guess I'll use I got some foil tape and I'll tape it off. But I'm trying. We'll see how it goes after it's all torqued to spec. I mean, that'll be a last resort, I'm sure. You know, a little tape on the inside, nice and tight. Maybe a little on this side to hold it together. All it is the exhaust. You don't want the exhaust air, you know, mixing with the cold air. You'll end up freezing up and stuff. So as long as it keeps separated, it should be okay. But we'll see how it goes when it gets all torqued into place. I think I broke it. Jeez. Yep. My duct is still not connected, and even in the instructions it said if you still got a gap, which I do, it says to put foil tape or insulation around it, so I'm just gonna I'll grab some foil tape and take that off, which I bought some just in case. Okay, so now I gotta get this wire up into this box, going through that hole. Well, I should have just done it while I was thinking about it earlier, but I got the fish tape. Don't have a fish tape. You just use a piece of wire hanger. Alright, so I got the fish tape through here. I poked it right through. I was able to reach my hand up in here. I got small hands. Able to grab that. I got the wire twisted around my fish tape. So I should be able to pull it through back through this hole over here. They had it from the factory. But, honestly, it probably would have been easier if I would have just knocked that board down earlier. Ran the wire through, and then I could have just tacked that board back up with a couple of finish nails. I mean, there's nothing to it, so. There we go. Alright. So, there's my wire. Actually reach up in this hole. See, I got that here. Now that I got it, I can kind of straighten up this wire to get me a little more length. Oh yeah, plenty of length now. What you want to do is we want to go through this box. Now we already know that I got this off. We checked it earlier and I turned off that breaker. I have two AC breakers. AC for air conditioning, not alternating current. So they were alternating current breakers, not DC fuses. So you're just going to go through this wire, this strain relief here. Pull that up out of the way. I'm going to tuck it through there. I don't need a whole shit ton of wire in here. Okay. This is going to come down. I mean, that's more than 20. I'm going to tighten up this nut here, and that'll keep the wire from bouncing around. See, can't pull the wire through. Put a little torque on it. Now I'm just going to leave all this here. This hooked up though. So my wire strippers are in the house. I don't feel like walking all the way back into the house. I've already made enough trips into the barn. That's far enough for me to grab things as I forget. So they always use stranded wire on shit, which drives me absolutely nuts. But I twist it together so it's tight. And you can see my wire here. I got some nicks from where that's how they had it. So I'm actually going to peel this jacketing back. Let's take a razor blade, score the jacket right down the middle, and you can split it. Roll it back, and then take your razor blade and cut that jacketing off. So now everybody freaks out about electrical. If you have it off while you're working on it, it makes it a lot easier and safer. I've done it hot. So I'm just going to strip that back. And those are already stripped. I got to strip back this black wire. I'm going to strip back to where I saw some spots on it. So if you don't got a stripper, you can kind of use the cutting part on the pliers. Like I am. Twist it around there. You can. There you go. Pull it down. Now that's way too long. I'm gonna trim that back. And your bare wire is your ground. So we'll start there. So there is a screw back in here. It's right there. And that's going to drive in. Let's see what size that is. I got a 3/8 there. Sorry. So I'm at 5/16. So I got a 5/16 socket. I went the other way. I needed to go smaller, not bigger. 5/16. That's exactly what I need there. That's what you want to do. Take your copper wire and you're going to loop it. Okay. Now I always leave the open end, so when the screw turns, which you're going to turn clockwise, right? So that way it ends up like this. So if you turn the screw with the wire this way, the screw is going to want to work itself out. So make sure your loop is going the same direction as the screw. So needle nose work good for this because you can reach up in here. I got it squeezed together. Where am I at here? Sorry, guys. So I got it squeezed together. Now I can just take the impact. And that ground wire is nice and tight. Now I do have a lot of experience with electrical, even though I'm not an electrician. But main thing is just be careful. Start with the thing off, and when you do wire nuts, make sure you keep on turning. So you start twisting the wire, and then give it a good pull. Make sure that wire nut doesn't come off. And you hook the wires of the same color to the same color. So black to black, white to white. If you got a green wire, green and bare copper are both ground. Put those all together. So put the wires next to each other. And you're just going to twist it. Let the nut tie it together. Okay, you can see it's starting to twist on the wire back here. That's tight, it ain't going nowhere. Tuck that. I always kind of do a half loop like that and kind of push it up in there. So that wire comes from the AC unit. Got a 6-pin. And you're going to hook it onto the 6-pin, like so. Junction cover, the box cover here. Sit this in. I'm assuming this will take the flat screws. You don't want to use pointed screws in there and poke the wire. There we go. One on this side. This is just kind of running into the paneling.
So then you're just gonna put the rest of the screws in around the edge here, zip them all up, and then you're gonna take the knobs and they just slide over and connect on those little stems.
All right, back over here where this cover was. That's just kind of a junction box, but you had to run the wire into here anyway, so so because when you turn these, it's gonna put a pick. It's gonna flip out on it and hold it up in there. There we go. It doesn't get real tight or nothing. I'm just trying to just tie it in a hole. So there's this plug here. It's gonna go back here to cover right here. All right, so I finally got it around front, so I can plug into the 30 amp. I probably could have ran it off the 15 amp cable back there. I didn't have nothing else plugged in, but just to be safe. So let's try this out. I turn the breakers back on. I'm all plugged in. So this has optional heat. I don't have the heat. So the fans are working, which that alone, I mean, that's blowing pretty good. Let me see if I can find something. Set it back to low, and you can see that napkin's blowing pretty good. Alright, let's see what high looks like. And high, it's putting it right back to my hand. It's blowing up pretty good. So let's throw it on to, we'll go the other way and put it on low cool. We're going to throw it on low cool here and see how this is. Now I just hear the fan. I haven't heard the AC unit kick in. Let's see where it does. No, I didn't hear it kick in, but that is definitely cold air coming out of there. So this is your adjustments here. This is kind of directional, side to side. You flip it around, and then here, over here, you got, this is where you point it. So I had it slightly down. Cold air is going to float down anyway. So, and then on the back side, I think back here, I'll just leave it open. I don't want to, and let it come back over here towards the door for the rest of the unit. And then maybe I can get it to kind of flow into the rest of the unit. So that's it. Hope this helped. Got any questions, let me know. Now this was this unit, AC unit I bought was a non-ducted model, but that's okay. I just wanted it for this room because the air doesn't really get up here. So, and it gets hot. I wanted to be able to sleep comfortably. So, thanks for watching.